Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see such a great crew. We were kind of wondering if we were going to be the only ones standing here by ourselves. Today is a very special day for all our veterans, and all the veterans should appreciate all the people that have come here to help to celebrate your day. Today, we're going to have Homer Weatherby, which is over here. He's our Grand Marshal today. He is Air Force. We'll excuse him for that. And then he's also in the honor detail, Franklin County Honor Detail, and he's very active in a lot of different military events. Others on the podium, we'll start over here. This is Megan Robitaille. I got it right. She's our guest speaker today. Next to her is Sheila Spalding, who is a VFW auxiliary member. And next to her is Kathy Gingras, who's the state auxiliary president. Next to her is Chris Brown, who is the American Legion auxiliary president. We have John Tebow, who is the American Legion chaplain. Then we have our guest speakers. We have Kiara Zawicki. Yay! And then Beckett, Nichols. We have one who's not here yet from Fairfield. That would be Carson Churchill. Then we have Randy Sherman, right here. And Randy is from BFA. Today, we have also Tim Smith on the other end, who's our city mayor, and then Brian Delore, representative from the town, which is over here. We have Paul Talley over here, who's our commander for the VFW. And we have the only one in his fatigues, who's the honor detail. So to start off our program today, we're going to have Kiara Zawicki, who's going to be our student MC, and she's going to introduce the speakers, and all the students will be coming up doing their speech and how they feel about Veterans Day.
Thank you, Ms. Tebow. Hi, my name is Kiara Zawicki, and I'm an 8th grader here at St. Albans City School. I'd like to welcome you all here today to City Hall to honor all the veterans here today. It's important to honor everyone who made sacrifices for our freedom that we enjoy so much today. Students across the Maplewood School Districts are here to share their thoughts and appreciation for our veterans. Our first guest speaker was unable to make it today, so I will be saying his speech. Okay, it would be Asher Baja, but I'm Kiara Zawicki, and I'm an 8th grader here at City School. It's an honor to be able to be up here speaking to all of you today. We're here to celebrate Veterans Day, a proud tradition that has been celebrated for 106 years. This is an incredibly important day because veterans have sacrificed so much and it deserves to be talked about. When I speak of sacrifice, it's not just one thing. Veterans have to sacrifice the multitude of things to be able to serve our country. They sacrificed their time for one. They had to go through so many years of training before they could go off and fight for us and our country. They also missed out on so much time that could have been spent with family. When veterans are deployed, they have to go through so much, the extreme weather conditions that most soldiers endure, and life and death situations that they find themselves in. Which brings me to their most important sacrifice. They're willing to sacrifice their very lives. And that's a huge deal because not everyone is willing to die in a fight for someone they don't even know. And some of them live with injuries that they most likely at one point thought were worse than death. But today, we're not focused on the people who have passed, but the people who survived, the ones who have retired, or the ones who are waiting for their next deployment, or the ones who are deployed now. We're celebrating them now, honoring them for all they have done for us and our country. I want to acknowledge the fact that they did not fight for fame, and they did not fight for glory, but for our freedom. And for that, I thank you all. Okay, our next guest speaker today is going to be Beckett Nichols from St.
Hello everyone, my name is Beckett Nichols. I'm in 7th grade and I go to SATEC. First of all, I would like to thank all the veterans for their service and for the sacrifices that they've made to keep our country safe. And a special thanks to all of you for being here today. You didn't have to come out in the snow and cold to celebrate veterans, but they stood up for us and now we're standing up for them. Veterans have been such good role models in our life, and they have pushed us all to be the best that we can. I think it's good for everyone to have a hero or a role model in their life. For me, that is my grandfather, Ralph Santor Jr. He served in the Vermont National Guard for over 20 years. He was a command sergeant major, and he's actually here today. Thank you, Pop. Every year on November 11th, we celebrate Veterans Day. Now this can be done by parades, memorials, and even events like this. And we can learn so much from veterans, from their stories, and from their experiences, and even from how they treat others. So thank you. Thank you for being there when the going gets tough. Thank you for being there when we needed you. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you, Beckett Nichols. Our next guest speaker is Carson Churchill from Fairfield Center School.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carson Churchill, and today I'll be doing my speech dedicated to all the veterans. Thank you for being here today. We are gathered here to honor our veterans, the men and women like my mom and dad, who have served in the United States Armed Forces. Veterans Day is a time to remember their courage, their dedication, and their sacrifices they have made for our country. Many veterans left their homes, families, and friends to protect the freedom we enjoy every day. They didn't know the exact challenges they would face, but they served anyway. They showed bravery, loyalty, and strength. Because of them, we are able to go to school, speak our minds, and live our lives with freedom and safety. Some veterans served in wars long ago, some just returned home recently, some are still serving today. No matter when or where they served, they deserve our respect and our thanks. If you have a family member who is a veteran, you know their service affects their whole family. Families are also make sacrifices. They wait, they worry, they support. So today we honor them as well. Veterans, if you are here today, we want you to know this. We appreciate you, we respect you, we thank you. To all veterans, thank you for your service, your bravery, and your dedication to our country. We will always remember what you have done for us. Thank you. Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you, Carson. Our final guest speaker for today is Randy Sherman from Bellows Free Academy.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Cadet Captain Randy Sherman of the Civil Air Patrol. Today is a day to stop and reflect on the actions of those who have worn the uniform of our nation, our veterans. It's easy to say thank you for your service, but that statement carries much greater weight than we often realize. Behind every salute, every folded flag, and every medal lies a story of courage, honor, and sacrifice, and unwavering dedication to a cause larger than oneself. It is impossible to describe the commitment it takes to serve in our country's armed forces. Those who do so showcase unparalleled grit and the desire to put others before themselves. To serve is to lead. Every veteran, from enlisted to NCO to officer, is leading this nation by preserving the past, shaping the present, and embracing the future. We live in a nation born in the fires of war and constantly striving to preserve freedom. But it would not have endured if it weren't for those willing to defend it. Their service does not end, however, when they take off their uniform. Around the nation, tens of thousands of veterans are helping their communities, developing products, raising the next generations, and leading us into the future. As a member of the Civil Air Patrol, U.S. Air Force Auxiliary, I have witnessed firsthand just a fraction of the culture and practices of the Air Force, and, in a military environment, develop countless skills to be the best leader I can. CAP strives to develop the leaders of our future through the cadet program, and I am but one of many success stories. I've learned that leadership isn't just about rank or authority, but about service, respect, and the responsibility we have to everyone in our lives. Veterans teach us those very same lessons. They remind us that the strength of the United States doesn't come from its weapons or its wealth, but from the character of those who defend it. So today, and every day, let us continue to honor the sacrifices of our veterans, not only with our words, but with our actions. Let us live lives worthy of their sacrifice, holding each other up, and carry forward the same spirit that has guided generations past. Thank you.
I guess as you get older, you get shorter. We'll now have a call to order, and we'll have the national anthem sung by Nora Gates from the BFA.
Detail and project. Trees edge. March.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
much. That was great. We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance by the St. Albans City School students.
Let's get it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone, happy.
Our invocation will be by Alan Brown.
Don't panic, I'm not going to read all 3 pages. I want to thank you all for being here today. Are there any weathermen here? I'm kind of curious at the trace 2 inches that's in my driveway. Father, bless our veterans and all who serve our nation defending our freedom. For those who bravely gave their lives, grant them eternal rest. For those who are serving, give them courage. For those who served, we offer our gratitude. We ask this through your might, our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Alan. Now we'd like to have excuse me, the greetings from the St. Albans City by our Mayor, Tim Smith.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, folks, for coming out today. I appreciate you all coming out to pay respects to our veterans and those who have served their country and who have passed on. I want to first thank the Public Works crew for getting City Hall ready for this event. The storm was a little larger than we anticipated. Done a great job on the roads and the sidewalks and getting City Hall cleaned out. So thank you to the Public Works crew. This is my 8th year as mayor. 8th year is doing this ceremony that I take pride in. We've never had weather like this. Always been cold more often than not, but first time we've had to move it indoors. So thank you for accommodating the changes. Once again, a big thank you goes out to John Coffey and Craig Cattell over here on the left for pulling this together and working with our American Legion and VFW veterans to make this happen. So thank you guys for that. As I always have done in the past, I dedicate my words to 2 or 3 veterans who recently passed on. St. Albans town resident Al Vogel was a longtime public servant in Colchester and in St. Albans, and he served in the U.S. Army in Vietnam. Interestingly enough, he was a counterintelligence agent during the war as well. I'd also like to recognize Joe Durfee, a longtime city school industrial arts teacher who was one of my teachers in the mid-70s. Mr. Durfee enlisted in the U.S. Navy during the Korean War and recently passed away on November 2nd. The world needs more Al Vogels and Joe Durfees. I hope you all had a chance to look at the military banners hanging off the light poles that the city has initiated as one more way to recognize our veterans. The banners honor those veterans who have passed and those who have served and continue to play a large role within our community. I'll be the first to tell you that we're late to the party in doing that. If you drive through upstate New York, almost every community has banners of this nature. I give credit to Marty Manian sitting here for his suggestion a few years ago. And we finally had time to pull it together. So for the first year, we had 48 applications, and we worked closely with Amanda Blatchley and the staff at Main Street Graphics to print them and install them in the beginning of November. Once again, thank you to Kevin Mitchell for hanging all the banners in one day. The plan for the banners is to take them down early December and put them back up 1st of May and display through Memorial Day in early June. We will be taking applications early spring to do more banners. I want to thank you all the families who entrusted us with the precious photos of their loved ones. Here's my take on the banners. We go through life knowing that a friend or a relative was a veteran, and that is great. But for the most part, we don't dwell on it, nor does it really hit home as to what role they played, or what branch they served in, or what rank they achieved. I think the banners help friends and families keep the discussions alive for those veterans who have passed. The banners serve as a gateway to untold stories. For example, my friend Ed Leahy, whose father was Tom Leahy, who served in World War II, Ed recently told me the story of my dad, his dad Tom, my dad Leo, and my uncle John Smith all went to enlist in the Army together. Tom and John were accepted, and my father was not, due to a kidney issue. I never knew this. But just like obituaries, just like in Albans, the banners tell you what branch someone served in. It shows what medals they received and what rank they were. But more importantly, it shares a photo of what they looked like in their uniforms. It is a visual that we can remember forever. So thank you very much, and thank you to all of our veterans.
Thank you very much for those words. Now we'll have the greetings from Town Rep Brian Delorier. Brian?
First, I just wanted to say thank you to all the students who came up. That's hard. That's hard to come up even though you've practiced your speech and you know what you're going to say. It can be tough to get up here in front of everybody, and I thought they did a great job here. Good morning. My name is Brian Delorier. I'm a member of the St. Albans Town Select Board, and I'm proud to be here today to welcome the students from, I think we've got some from all the Maple Run schools, parents, teachers, community members, other elected officials, and most importantly, our veterans to this wonderful event. Honestly, it's an honor for me to be up here today representing the town of St. Albans and playing a very small part in today's celebration. Today's event is one of many that have been held at Taylor Park in the city over the years, sometimes with a few dozen people in the rain and other times with thousands of people sitting in the sunshine. That's not today, of course. Our community, though, has made it our business to honor our veterans like no other place in Vermont. Much thanks to Team USA and its teachers. I remember a few years ago when I was teaching at Town School, we came over and one of my students, he was petrified to give a speech, but he stood up and took his guitar out and sang a song, and we had everyone in the park singing. It was awesome. But I am honored to be standing before all the St. Albans students and area veterans. I'm honored to be here with so many respected and dedicated people. And I appreciate the words of President Lincoln's Gettysburg Address that's over on the monument that we're normally holding this, as it does contain the most perfect attempt at describing and revering the greatest sacrifice of our nation's heroes and veterans. We have the freedom to meet here today and honor our veterans because of those very same veterans. While our founding fathers wrote powerful words almost 250 years ago, the Declaration of Independence, our U.S. Constitution, Bill of Rights, our veterans over the centuries have kept our nation safe from those dangers of the world so that we can struggle as Americans and fulfill those lofty promises on our own terms. If we didn't have the veterans doing what they've done over these 250 years, those words would be just words. Our ideals of freedom and equality mean nothing if we don't have men and women in our military who agree to defend our country and potentially give their life to protect those ideals and protect all of us. While many of us here today have made that promise in the past to defend the United States, others still serve in the military and keep that promise. We're so lucky for all of them. Not only that, there are many students here today who may also consider such a promise in the future. While serving in the military may not be for everyone, it may be the best and most important decision for a few of you. So again, I'm humbled to be here today to thank our veterans on behalf of the town of St. Albans. Thank you all for being here and showing your gratitude and appreciation for many of our best and most valued citizens. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those words also. Now it's time for our guest speaker, who is Meg Robitaille. I practiced that several times. Tech Sergeant Meg Robitaille is a member of the Green Mountain Boys in the 158th Fighter Wing, Vermont National Guard, South Burlington, Vermont. She has held many positions since enlisting in 2009. Her duties have included advocating for airmen, assisting the commander in providing a mission-ready force, maintaining Air Force standards, promoting esprit de corps and a warrior ethos, safeguarding Air Force values, performing armament systems maintenance functions and operations, and performing military funeral honors. Sergeant Robitaille enlisted in September of 2009 and arrived at Lackland Air Force Base, Texas, where she completed basic training. As an honor graduate, she began her career as an aircraft armament specialist and cross-trained into the services squadron, where she became a non-commissioned officer in charge of fitness and recreation. In 2011, she was selected to become a ceremonial guardsman as part of the military funeral honors. She has performed over 300 funerals in her tenure, not including color guards and other different ceremonies. She deployed to Albans Air Force Base in Qatar in support of Operations Enduring Freedom in 2017. In October of 2019, she was selected as First Sergeant for the Logistics Readiness Squadron. Her most recent deployment was to Spandingen Air Force Base in Germany in 2022. She is the first female First Sergeant to deploy with an Air National Guard base with the F-35 aircraft. Following this deployment, she paused her military career to concentrate on her civilian life. She earned her master's degree in sports medicine at A.T. Still University, opened a massage business, and started a new job at BFA St. Albans as the head athletic trainer. This past September, she re-enlisted back into the aircraft armament systems career field, which would been her 16th anniversary of service. Her major awards and decorations are as follows: the Air Force Achievement Medal, the Air Reserve Forces Meritorious Service Medal, and the Vermont National Guard Commendation Medal. I'd like to introduce Meg Robitaille. She has a big act to follow.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, members of the community, students, and fellow patriots, good morning. Welcome to the 71st anniversary of the celebration of Veterans Day. I would like to extend an especially heartfelt welcome to the retirees and veterans who stand among us. Thank you all for being here this morning and taking the time to show your gratitude and support. My name is Technical Sergeant Meg Robitaille. I have served as a Green Mountain Boy in the Vermont Air National Guard for roughly 13.5 years. It is truly an honor and a privilege to stand here before you today representing all of my sisters and brothers in arms, both living and deceased, who have honorably served this country. There are a few questions I'd like you to ask yourself that I hope this message I bring you today can answer. What drives you? Who or what is your why? Where do you come from? What defines you? Keeping those questions in mind, I would like to present you with a gift of nostalgia in the form of inspiration. May the thoughts and stories shared with you throughout the day remind you why we have rights, freedoms, and independence. May the tales of the blood, sweat, and tears shed during times of conflict be seen as symbols of tenacity. We could not and would not be here today without the visions and the courageous acts of our forefathers. Our predecessors bestowed history, legacy, and esprit de corps among us. They endured significant loss in their tenure, as we have in the more recent decades. Yet to this day, we still stand proud in resilience, strength, and patriotism. Our values and morals for what is right and just have remained steadfast. We have taken our losses and used them as an example of how we can be more efficient and preventative. The grit, perseverance, and devotion to country since the 1900s has been used as a footprint for how we can continue coming together as a nation. A glance at history teaches us that the first official declaration of war for the United States was the American Revolution in 1775. This was followed by an even more warfare over the next 3 centuries, but of these, World War I carries the most significance for today's ceremony. The Great War ended on November 11th, 1918. Although it is not considered to be the bloodiest of all the wars in the U.S., an estimated 15 million Americans, both military and civilian, lost their lives, and all of the countries involved felt that loss. 1 year later, to celebrate the end of this catastrophic tragedy, President Wilson dedicated November 11th as Remembrance Day, in recognition of the signing of the armistice between the Allies and the hostilities, ending the Great War. This day was both nationally and globally recognized, and it is hoped that this was the end of great suffering and conflict. Unfortunately, the signing of the armistice was not the conclusion of warfare that everyone had envisioned. World War II began in 1939, and another 60 million or more people lost their lives. Similar to World War I, countries suffered from these staggering losses and mourned for many years following the aftermath. To help provide a sense of comfort and closure, in 1947, a World War II veteran, Raymond Weeks, believed that there should be a day of observation for all members of the armed forces who honorably served their country, both at war and during peacetime. His passionate beliefs and determination led to the signing of a bill in 1954, when President Eisenhower rededicated November 11th as Veterans Day. Uplifting intentions and wishful thinking did not stop wars from coming. Over the next few decades, the Korean War, Vietnam War, Desert Shield, Desert Storm conflicts left their marks. However, with the help of innovation and experience, our warfighting tactics improved. Intelligence, strategy, and technology advanced and improved our capabilities. Regardless of these advancements, these breakthroughs can never completely rid us of the threats and losses of war. And most unfortunately, those dangers sometimes outweigh the long-term goals and benefits. We can find encouragement and stability in our deeply rooted sense of devotion to country and family, which can continue to drive us forward and face our enemies, foreign and domestic. This is our country's why. I learned about my why when I was 11 years old. My family and I were invited to attend the christening and launching of the USS Donald Cook. The DDG-75, which is an Aegis guided missile destroyer ship named after my great-uncle, Colonel Donald Cook. He was a United States Marine, a missing in action POW in the Vietnam War. He was a father, a husband, a friend, a patriot, an American hero. In December 1964, he was assigned to the Saigon Republic of Vietnam. He volunteered to conduct a search and recovery mission for a downed helicopter. In the process of rescuing wounded soldiers, he was shot in the leg and captured by the Viet Cong. He was then taken to a POW camp in the jungles of Vietnam near the Cambodian border. The life conditions of the POWs was horrific. Each prisoner lived in a 10 by 10 foot cage made out of bamboo. The cages did not have roofs or walls to protect them from the elements or insects, and most times they were underfed and medications were scarce. With his ability to speak Vietnamese and knowing the Viet Cong's torture techniques, he assumed the ranking officer's position. He helped his fellow prisoners by giving them his food and medicine to the sick and dying captives. He also negotiated for other prisoners' release, giving up his own. He set an example and standard that was contrary to the Viet Cong's goals of breaking down the POWs and indoctrinating them. He remained resilient, both physically and mentally, performing 75 to 80 push-ups daily, 15 to 20 pull-ups, and running in circles in his cage for an hour to maintain stamina and strength. How many pull-ups can you do? He also worked hard on any prison details, such as digging holes, cutting wood, and working in the rice mill. His one attempt at escaping led to a gun held to his head, to which he recited the pistol's nomenclature with no fear. My uncle did not return home. None of his remains were returned home. He was declared dead on February 26, 1980, under the Missing Service Persons Act of 1942. Because of his courage, faith without fear, and going beyond the call of duty, he was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor and a Purple Heart on May 16, 1980. In his last words to his family, written in a letter that was smuggled back home in an eyeglass case in February of 1967, he said, "Do what is right and just, no matter the personal cost. Love God and man above all else. Don't judge yourself by others, but by yourself. This guides and will always guide my actions." Surely he can be an example to live by, just like so many others in uniform, both living and deceased. So let us take a pause together to remember the fallen, but celebrate the living. Let us stand tall and show our gratitude. Let us continue coming together as a nation and support one another. Finally, let us acknowledge the gifts we have been given and remain headstrong and steadfast. May you never forget where you came from, so you may always remember how to get where you're going. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those wonderful words. I'd like to now just thank a lot of people who've worked very hard on the program that has been presented today. Craig Cattell, John Coffey, and Jeff Brulu have been helping me for several years getting this program together. I must admit though, today was the first time that both of our thumbs have been worked to the bone, pulling this off with the snow. Text messages were flying back and forth since about 5:30 this morning. So we finally got it together. I also want to thank all the cadets, the Franklin County, Vermont Honor Detail, our town reps, all of the veterans that are up here on the stage, our student speakers, and everyone that has come here today. It has made it what it is, which is a very valuable thing for all the veterans that are here. Today, I also want to let you know that all the veterans and their families are invited to go to the American Legion, which would be serving soup, sandwiches, chili, and hot dogs. So after traveling through the snow up to your knees, shoveling your little hands off, now you can have something warm in your stomach. So to end our program today, we're going to have the benediction by John Tebow.
O God, eternal Father and everlasting King of heaven and earth, we render you acknowledgement of your supreme dominion over us and gratitude for your paternal solitude and watchfulness. As we gather here in humble recognition of your divine providence, we beseech you to usher into our world of confusion and doubt the peace and tranquility which alone can come from you. bless and protect our nation, be merciful to our honored dead, the memory of whose valor, courage, and heroism inspires us to make action and to eternal vigilance in the preservation of our priceless liberty and of our inalienable rights to enduring happiness, guide and direct our minds to a thorough understanding of our duties to you, to our country, and to one another. Awaken in our hearts the desire and the will to accomplish the ideals for which this nation exists, so that out of our determination and endeavor there may emerge a better world, a world founded upon faith and understanding, a world dedicated to preserving the individual rights and dignity of man, a world of tolerance and justice, a world intent on loving and serving you, our Lord and Master. Amen.
I would be very upset with myself if I had forgotten to mention to thank the color guard, also the firemen and the police force that was here today helping us out. And they're a very important part of this ceremony to keep all of the people safe that are marching. I will now end by dismissing the color guard and the honor details. You are dismissed.